Hello everyone and welcome to the Week 12 ONIT recap show. This week brought us some narrow victories, elite performances on both sides of the ball, and yet again more shakeups inside the top 25. We'll get into all of that, but before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of our future videos here on the ONIT channel, and stick around to the end of today's episode to find out how you can be a part of one of our upcoming shows. With all that out of the way, let's begin by taking a look at what's in our box. But what's in the box? The Week 12 ONIT recap box features our locally sourced but nationally relevant headlines for all of our ONIT teams, including the close fourth quarter escapes and big upsets that we saw. Then we'll talk about who made the grade this weekend with some stellar performances. And lastly, we'll take a look ahead at Week 13 to see what is coming up next. But we begin with our games between ONIT teams. Not much offense to talk about in this game as Kansas State wins 14-6 over Oklahoma State. Wildcats improved to 5-5, 4-3 in the Big 12, while Oklahoma State falls to 1-9 and 0-7 in Big 12 play. For Kansas State, this is their first win in Stillwater since 2017. A nice victory for them. They scored just 2 touchdowns on the day, one in the second quarter, one in the fourth quarter, and Oklahoma State could only muster 2 field goals, one in the first quarter, one in the second quarter. Like I said, not a whole lot of offense to be seen. Tons of turnovers, though. We saw 3 interceptions thrown by Oklahoma State, and then 2 fumbles lost as well. Zayshawn Rich was all over the field for K-State in this game. He recovered a fumble and also had an interception that helped the Wildcats to 2 of their 5 turnovers that they produced in this contest. Rich also had 6 tackles, 4 solo as well for K-State. It wasn't a very pretty victory. It was a tough, slug-it-out affair for both of these teams, but it ends up with a K-State victory as they now just need one more win to become bowl eligible, while Oklahoma State will still search for their first win under their interim head coach. A close game in Tempe sees Arizona State walk away with a 25-23 win. Sun Devils improved to 7-3, 5-2 in the Big 12 as they keep their conference title hopes alive with the win over West Virginia, who falls to 4-7, 2-6 in the Big 12. Mountaineers got some explosive passing plays in this game from Scotty Fox Jr. Had a 75-yard touchdown that came in the second quarter. In the fourth quarter to take a lead, it was a 90-yard passing touchdown for West Virginia, but the explosion of offense in the second quarter was enough for Arizona State. They scored 22 points, 3 touchdowns, and had a fake field goal pass for a 2-point conversion that helped the Sun Devils get enough points to win this one. Finished it off with a field goal, the game-winning field goal, in the fourth quarter, and sealed it by picking off Scotty Fox at the end of the game to get the ball back and set up in victory formation. So, slim chance for Arizona State, but their conference hopes are still alive. They can win the Big 12 if they get some help in front of them. And for West Virginia, they're going to need to win their final 2 remaining games if they want to become bowl eligible this year. A close one in Baton Rouge, 23-22. LSU squeaks out the home victory against Arkansas as the Tigers become bowl eligible at 6-4, move to 3-4 in the SEC, while Arkansas falls to 2-8, 0-6 still in the SEC. Just another day where Arkansas is unable to pull out a victory in a close game. This is now their 6th loss of the year in a 1-possession contest. Crazy stat to think about. If they could have just flipped the script in half of those games, the Razorbacks would more than likely be going bowling this season. But as it is, LSU picks up the victory. Michael Van Buren making the start in place of the injured Garrett Nussmeier goes for 221 passing yards and a touchdown. Harold Perkins Jr. was all over the place in this game for LSU. A key reason why they won, he was getting after Taylon Green, picked up a sack. He also had an interception, and he was on a quarterback spy to try and shut down the legs of Green throughout a majority of the first half, although that's easier said than done. Green had 17 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown. The passing game was where it left things to be desired for Green. 11 of 19, 165 yards, no touchdown, 2 interceptions in this loss. And once again, just a very close loss for Arkansas, as LSU earns themselves bowl eligibility with their 6th win of the season, 23-22. 2 games left on the slate for both of these teams here to finish off the season. What in the world was this game? I'm still not sure whether to call this an incredible comeback by Texas A&M or an unbelievable meltdown by South Carolina. Either way, it's a 31-30 final as Texas A&M remains undefeated, improves to 10-0 on the season and 7-0 in the SEC, while South Carolina falls to 3-7, 1-7 in SEC play. 30-3 at halftime. That's what the score was. South Carolina was up 30-3. Marcel Reed threw a number of passes that could have been intercepted. He threw 2 interceptions that led to South Carolina touchdowns, including that 80-yard Nick Harbor touchdown in the second quarter for the Gamecocks. But in the second half, Marcel Reed was a new player. 439 yards through the air in this game. 3 touchdowns. Did have the 2 interceptions. A&M fumbled the ball on a 3rd and goal as well, down on the 2-yard line of South Carolina when it looked like they were going to go in for a score to extend their lead. Instead, they fumble it, give the ball back to South Carolina, but the Texas A&M defense came up huge with the big stop to win this game for them. Casey Concepcion, 158 receiving yards. Nick Harbor mentioned his long touchdown. He finished the game with 102 yards. This was a wild ball game, and it ends with A&M scoring 28 unanswered points to beat South Carolina. Aggies fans, you can all take a deep breath of relief, and the playoff hopes are still alive for A&M. We'll see how they get on the rest of the season, and for South Carolina, another heartbreaking loss. Once again, our game of the week did not disappoint as the Oklahoma Sooners go into Tuscaloosa and take down the Alabama Crimson Tide. Oklahoma improves to 8-2, 4-2 in the SEC, while Alabama falls to 8-2, 6-1 as they suffer their first conference loss. It's a 23-21 victory for the Sooners. John Mateer did what he needed to do for Oklahoma, took care of the ball, did not turn it over. He only passed for 138 yards, but he did have a rushing touchdown for Oklahoma as Ty Simpson threw it all over the place. 28 of 42, 326 yards, had a touchdown, had an interception as well, just his 2nd of the season. And that was one of the big things for Alabama. They turned the ball over 3 times. They had the Simpson interception. They also lost 2 fumbles, and then they missed a field goal. And in a 2-point loss, those type of miscues usually end up being the difference in the game. No different here today. On the ground for Alabama, Daniel Hill got into the end zone twice, had 15 carries for 60 yards. And Josh Cuevas had 6 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown. He was one of their best pass catchers today as he led the team, although Jeremy Bernard did have 7 receptions for 71 yards. For the winning Sooners, Xavier Robinson, 10 carries, 34 yards. Mateer, we mentioned his touchdown. He had 10 carries for only 23 yards. And then not a whole lot going on in the passing department either. Jermichael Carter, 3 catches for 36. Giovanni Gibson, 2 catches for 26. It was a low yardage total day for Oklahoma, but it didn't matter because they got on the road, got a huge win. Their playoff chances have been boosted dramatically with this road victory. They have 2 games left. Both of them will be in Norman. If they win out, they look like they should be going to the college football playoff. And meanwhile, for Alabama, they will have to win out, it looks like, as they now have 2 losses, one against this Oklahoma squad and the other to Florida State. The SEC title game is completely up for grabs, but Texas A&M, for now, is the only undefeated SEC team at the moment. That's how our ONIT versus ONIT games shook out today. We'll move and look at how the rest of our ONIT teams played. Beginning with number 1, Ohio State, yet again a commanding victory for the Buckeyes, 48-10 over UCLA. James Peoples with 2 great touchdowns on the ground for Ohio State as they roll yet again. Nothing more to be said about the Buckeyes. They continue to dominate every opponent that is put in front of them, and a Week 14 matchup looms with Michigan in 2 weeks. For number 10, Texas, they kept it close against Georgia for a majority of the contest, but late in the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter, Georgia managed to open it up as Texas falls 35-10 in Athens. Number 17, USC with a huge comeback victory against Iowa. They went down 14-0, managed to turn it around as they dominated the Hawkeyes in the second half, did not allow Iowa to score a single point. Mekhi Lemon, once again, a monster for USC. 10 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown for the Trojans in the comeback victory. While Michigan squeaked one out against Northwestern at Wrigley Field. Michigan looked like they were in control, up 21-9 at one point in this ball game. All of a sudden, Northwestern came back. It took a last-second field goal for Michigan to win this one, 24-22. Jordan Marshall played well. Bryce Underwood played well enough to get Michigan the win. Michigan was plagued by turnovers in this game, but at the end of the day, still got the job done. Their playoff hopes remain alive thanks to the victory. Number 21, Tennessee was never in doubt at home against New Mexico State. They took down New Mexico State 42-9 in Knoxville. Joey Aguilar threw the ball all over the field, hit multiple different receivers for touchdowns, and it was a dominating performance by the Volunteers defense as they held New Mexico State to just 9 points in the contest. For Boise State, another loss for the Broncos, 17-7. They fall on the road in a rainstorm in San Diego. Aztecs get the better of the Broncos, and now Boise State has an uphill battle to get into the Mountain West Championship game. For Florida, a tight game on the road in Oxford against number 7 Ole Miss ends up being a 34-24 loss. The Gators were up 24-20 in the second half in this ball game, but they just could not find a way to move the ball. Once it got into the fourth quarter, Ole Miss defense ended up shutting down the Gators, and the upset bid was spoiled. For Florida State, a 34-14 win over Virginia Tech. Tommy Castellanos hooked up with Deuce Robinson for a touchdown. He also added a score on the ground as the Seminoles cruised to a rather easy victory over Virginia Tech at home in Tallahassee. For Missouri, a 49-27 win over Mississippi State. Ahmad Hardy stole the show here, became just the second running back in Missouri history to reach 300 yards in a game. He finished with exactly 300 yards on the nose on 25 carries, had a rushing touchdown of 72 yards and another one of 43 yards, had 3 total touchdowns on the day. He was a monster. We told you to watch him on the checklist on Thursday. Hopefully you stayed up to watch his dominating performance as Missouri gets the win. Another dominating performance on the ground came courtesy of Katron Allen for Penn State. They win 28-10 on the road in East Lansing, Michigan against the Michigan State Spartans. Allen, a great game, 181 total yards and 2 touchdowns for him as that dual threat backfield of Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen continue to punch opponents in the mouth, and Penn State picked up their first Big Ten win of the season with the 28-10 victory over the Spartans. And lastly, Washington back on track, 49-13 drubbing of Purdue. Never in doubt for the Dogs in this game. Damon Williams Jr. did all that he needed to do, even without Jonah Coleman, who's one of the leading running backs in the country. He did not play in this game. Didn't see Denzel Boston either. Didn't matter. Damon Williams put the team on his back. Got some great performances from people who stepped up with those 2 absences, and the Huskies managed to roll. But who had the best performance on the weekend? We'll let you know because we are going to talk Making the Grade. It's time for Making the Grade, where we talk about our best performers of the weekend. We give out 2 near mint 8s, 2 mint 9s, but only 1 gem mint 10. Let's dive right on in and begin with our first near mint 8 on the defensive side of the ball, because we love NIL for all at ONIT. It's going to be Dennis Sutton. 2 sacks and a blocked punt for Penn State in their 28-10 win over Michigan State. He was a difference maker, not only on the defensive side of the ball, but also on the special teams with that blocked punt. Had 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and for his performance in Penn State's first Big Ten win, he earns himself a near mint 8. On the offensive side for our near mint 8s, it's going to go to Texas A&M's quarterback Marcel Reed, who played his way into a hole in the first half and played himself right out of it in the second. finished his day with 439 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, all which were thrown in the second half to shake off 2 first-half interceptions and help Texas A&M to the biggest comeback of the season as they erase a 30-3 deficit and win 31-30 over South Carolina. Moving on to our Mint 9s. Let's go right back to the defensive side of the ball and talk Harold Perkins Jr. for LSU. It was his job to shut down Taylon Green in this game, and he did that and then some. 4 tackles, 2 solo for Perkins, who also had a sack, and 2.5 tackles for a loss. He picked off Taylon Green when he dropped back in coverage as well and made a couple of nice plays as a quarterback spy. He was all over the field, and for his big day and the 23-22 victory for LSU, he earns a Mint 9. On the offensive side, jumping back to Penn State, it's Kaytron Allen. A huge day for the running back as part of that dual threat backfield, that tandem backfield that Penn State deploys. Kaytron Allen, 25 carries, 181 yards, 7.2 yards per carry on the ground. Finishes day with 2 touchdowns, including a long of 42 as he managed to eat up yards all day long against the Spartans defense on the road. That earns Kaytron a Mint 9 grade, but there can only be one 10. Let us know who you think it is down in the comments below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future episodes. But our 10 can only be Ahmad Hardy of Missouri. It had to be with an unbelievable performance where he carried the ball 25 times for 300 yards, averaged 12 yards a tote, and finished his day with 3 touchdowns, including a 72-yard touchdown score and a 43-yard rushing score. He becomes just the second Missouri Tiger to go over 300 yards in a game and the first in the 2000s. Hardy, an absolute monster, came in as one of the top running backs in the country in terms of total yards on the season. Well, he just added 300 more. Let us know if we got it right or wrong down in the comments. Who would you have picked to be the Gem Mint 10 performer of the week? And let's look ahead to our Week 13 schedule. This is our look ahead to Week 13. Another great slate coming towards us in the penultimate or regular season week of college football. We once again have 5 ONIT versus ONIT matchups. Tennessee at Florida, Nebraska at Penn State, Arkansas at Texas, Kansas at Iowa State, and Missouri at Oklahoma. Those are going to be some great matches. As you can see, we have a lot of games that are left to be decided on when they'll actually take place, but we know that they'll all be happening next Saturday. Can't wait to watch USC take on Oregon, a game with massive playoff implications on the line in Eugene. Trojans have looked good recently. Can they go on the road and beat the Oregon Ducks? Only Indiana has been able to say that so far this season in Autzen. Can the Trojans pull it off and basically secure their playoff opportunity? That's the game that I'm looking most forward to. But tell us what game you're looking forward to watching down in the comments below. And also make sure that you submit your hits to the link below. That way you can be a part of a future episode here at ONIT. We'd love to share your best polls, whether it's low number parallels, great autographs, or a nice looking City Limits card. Whatever you pull out of a single pack, platinum box, or on one of these many streams, TikTok, whatnot, wherever, we'd love to see it. So share it with us. It's also in the description. The link is so you can share those hits and we can share them with the community and talk about the best polls of the week. So make sure you do that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you on Monday with an AP poll reaction video, and we'll be back on Thursday for the Week 13 preview. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and enjoy it wherever you may be.